There was a man who didn't just make money, he made the system that creates money. While most men fought for land or oil, he quietly bought something far more powerful: control of a nation's heartbeat, its finance. His name? You might know it, or you might not. But his fingerprints are on every dollar in your wallet, every rate your bank charges, and every financial crisis since. This isn't just the story of a banker. It's the story of how one man's greed, brilliance, and ambition rewired an empire, and how that same system still rules your life today. And if you think this is history, you're wrong, because the game he started 120 years ago is still being played. Let's go back to the moment when money stopped being just paper and became power. The panic that changed everything. The year is 1907. America is booming. Railroads, steel, oil. The nation's heartbeat is pure ambition. But beneath the golden glow, chaos brews. Banks are collapsing. Markets freeze. Fear spreads like wildfire. The U.S. Treasury can't stop it. Politicians are helpless. And then, one man steps forward. Not a general, not a president, a banker, J.P. Morgan. He summons the richest men in America to his library, locks the doors, and doesn't let them leave until they agree to a rescue plan. Hours later, the markets stabilize. Confidence returns. America is saved. Not by the government, but by a private banker. But salvation always comes with a price. Because when you rescue a nation at its weakest moment, you don't just gain gratitude, you gain leverage. And that's how it began. Not with a law or an election, but in a smoke-filled room where a handful of men decided that money itself could be centralized. The secret at Jekyll Island. 3 years later, 7 men boarded a private train from New Jersey, bound for a remote island off the coast of Georgia. Fake names, hidden identities, total secrecy. No journalists, no records, no leaks. That meeting would shape the next century of global finance. The location? Jekyll Island. The mission? To build a system powerful enough to control the nation's money. At least that's what they claimed. Behind closed doors, it wasn't about stability, it was about control. The men in that room represented the titans of global banking: Morgan, Rockefeller, Kuhn, Loeb. And together, they drafted the blueprint for what would become the Federal Reserve. Funny, isn't it? The central bank of a free nation, created by private bankers in total secrecy. Even the name Federal Reserve was deception by design. It sounded official, governmental, but it wasn't. It was a private bank with public power, a shadow government wearing a suit and a smile. And from that moment forward, every boom, bust, and bailout was quietly influenced by the same invisible hands. The power of the invisible hand. Why did they build such a system? Because true power isn't loud, it's invisible. Before the Fed, money was tied to gold, hard limits, real scarcity. But with the Federal Reserve came the ultimate temptation: money from nothing. Now, those who controlled credit controlled the world. Wars could be funded, governments could overspend, and citizens could be taxed, not through laws, but through inflation. Wait, inflation isn't random? No, it's engineered. Because when money loses value, debt becomes cheaper. And who owns the debt? The rich, the banks, the architects of the system. It's the oldest trick in empire building, a silent wealth transfer from workers to lenders, from the public to the elite. Rome diluted silver, Britain overprinted the pound, and America? You're living in the modern version. Boom, bust, and control. By the 1920s, the machine was unstoppable. Wall Street soared, credit exploded. America was a global superpower built on leverage. But prosperity became addiction. Addiction turned to collapse. 1929.
the crash, millions ruined. And yet, the bankers, they survived, thrived even, because they didn't just own assets, they owned policy. The Federal Reserve had evolved from guardian to puppet master. Every interest rate cut, every rescue plan, every bailout was another string pulled behind the curtain. And the people worked harder, earned less, watched their savings melt. Democracy quietly became deadocracy. And America, the land of the free, was bought with compounding interest. The modern empire. Fast forward, the names have changed. Goldman, BlackRock, Citadel, but the playbook hasn't. In 1907, one banker saved America to gain control. In 2008, history repeated. Bailouts, bonuses, boom again. Different century, same con. Today, central banks don't just print money, they print policy. The line between Wall Street and Washington, almost gone. CEOs become policymakers. Policymakers become CEOs. A revolving door, spinning endlessly. And every solution transfers more power upward. You wonder why markets rise when economies fall? Because in this system, collapse is profitable. The rich don't fear crises, they create them and buy the aftermath. The empire's reckoning. But every empire that tried to control money lost it. Rome, Spain, Britain, all believed they were invincible until debt devoured them. America stands at the same edge. Its dollar no longer backed by gold, but by faith and credit, both running thin. Its debt higher than at any point in history. Its solution, print more of the poison. The machine built to stop collapse has become the engine of it. And when the illusion finally breaks, it won't be the rich who fall first. It'll be the workers, the savers, the citizens who believed the lie. Because when money dies, time, labor, and life lose meaning. That's how empires fall, not from invasion, but from inflation.
Can a nation buy back its freedom after selling its soul? Maybe, but only if people see the game for what it is. The real battle isn't left versus right. It's those who understand money versus those ruled by it. Money isn't wealth, it's control. Once you see that, you stop playing the part they wrote for you. So the next time you hear stimulus, quantitative easing, or bailout, remember, every dollar printed isn't free. It's a promise made in your name. And the man who once saved America might have sold it in the process. You've just seen how a single banker reshaped the world's financial system. A network built not on gold or labor, but on belief and debt. But the story doesn't end here, because what came next, when gold lost its crown, changed the world forever. Watch my last episode, because history doesn't repeat by accident. It repeats because we forget who wrote the rules. This is Fin Legacy, where the past reveals the future.